RCR loses their appeal, Justin Haley now has an interim crew chief, and Kyle Larson crashes during Indy 500 testing. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Lots of NASCAR news today. Also, in the second half of this video, Victory Junction CEO Chad Coltrane will join the show. I've mentioned this before, but I'm working with Victory Junction to help share their mission of giving children with serious medical conditions an unforgettable camp experience that will leave a lasting impact on their lives. Their CEO will join us at the end to talk more about the camp's mission, its place among the NASCAR community, and its continued legacy. But first, let's talk Spire Motorsports. Yesterday, they made headlines when they parted ways with crew chief Rodney Childers. Today, they confirmed that Ryan Sparks will return to the pit box as crew chief for Justin Haley and the 7 team for the duration of the 2025 season. Ryan Sparks had worked with Corey LaJoie over the past 4 years. He's a Spire Motorsports veteran at this point, actually worked with Justin Haley briefly at the end of last season. This should be a kind of plug-and-play situation. Sparks is very familiar with the Spire Motorsports competition team. But honestly, I'm still trying to make sense of the Rodney Childers departure. Since the announcement yesterday afternoon, Rodney has made 2 posts on social media. He first posted this photo, which appears to show him and his wife on a beach somewhere. And then he posted this photo of him apparently completing some household chores. Childers said yesterday that he's going to take some time for himself, his family, and will assess his place in the NASCAR industry. The way Spire Motorsports worded their statement yesterday made it sound like they were the ones who initiated the split, but I still believe it would make more sense if this had been Rodney Childers' decision. Like, I think last season at Stewart-Haas Racing took years off of everyone's career. Charters getting sold, crew members leaving mid-season, just getting cars to the racetrack last year was difficult enough. I think Rodney Childers was hoping for more stability, a fresh start here at Spire, and 9 weeks into the season, his pit crew has been replaced, his car chief has left for a rival organization. I wouldn't have blamed Rodney Childers if he just took a step back and said, hey, I can't go through this another year. We don't know for sure which side initiated the split or if it was, in fact, truly a mutual decision. But what I can say is that I believe the number 7 team is worse right now than they were a month ago when they still had Cheddar Smith and they still had Rodney Childers. All due respect to Ryan Sparks, that much turnover in a short period of time isn't good for anyone. I'm still rooting for Justin Haley, though. I want him to get a real shot this season. I hope this is just a bump in the road and they can continue this recent momentum. Some other news from yesterday that I haven't had the chance to react to yet. Richard Childress Racing appealed the Jesse Love Rockingham disqualification. Remember, Love was DQ'd post-race for an issue with the rear suspension. The National Motorsport Appeal Panel heard their case yesterday and ultimately ruled in favor of NASCAR. The appeal panel said in a statement, quote, "The panel finds that it is more likely than not that there was a violation of the rear suspension rule. The panel was unable to determine whether the violation was intentional or unintentional. The panel finds that the mating surfaces between the truck trailing arm and the U-bolt saddle were not in contact with each other." Yeah, so basically they're saying the car rightfully failed post-race inspection, but it's hard to say if the brake was intentional or an accident. Teams do occasionally design pieces to fail. That is and always has been very common. I looked at some recent examples on the show earlier this week and said I gave RCR a 50-50 shot. It sounds like even the appeal panel said 50-50 whether they broke the rules intentionally. Ultimately, that means the call stands, I guess, and the call in this case was a disqualification. RCR released a statement saying that they were disappointed with the outcome of the appeal. Just have to move on, I suppose. Tough break for Jesse Love. He's just there to drive the race car. Good news is they're headed to Talladega Superspeedway. Jesse Love is the defending spring Talladega Xfinity Series winner, and we know those Richard Childress Racing Chevys are always dominant at the drafting tracks. How about some news from earlier today? Kyle Larson, attempting his second Indianapolis 500, crashed this afternoon during Indy 500 Open testing. You can see here he gets a little wide, hits the outside wall, bends the right front, and crashes into the outside safer barrier. The Hendrick/Arrow McLaren driver was okay after he got out of the car, said he battled a tight understeering condition the past couple of days, and at full speed it just got away from him. This is really the first crash of Kyle Larson's IndyCar career. Last season, his month of May was relatively incident-free, but early on in his 2025 campaign, issues for Kyle Larson, according to reporter Nathan Brown. They will not get back on track later today. They don't have to replace the whole car. They will be able to fix the damage, but it's going to take some time. There are a few different ways to interpret this accident. Obviously, the car was not handling to Kyle Larson's liking, but honestly, this crash suggests to me that Kyle Larson's a bit more confident this season, a little more comfortable his second go-round. For the first time in his Indy 500 career, Kyle Larson can say he's found the limit. The only concern some may have, though, is that if this first crash causes Larson to tighten up on the reins a bit. I doubt that. This is Kyle Larson we're talking about. The race car driver. Drives everything. He's crashed in everything. He's flipped in a sprint car. He's gone into the catch fence at Daytona. Nothing seems to really faze this guy. However, Larson did make a very interesting comment when he got out of the car.
Honestly, though, I'm happy to crash my first IndyCar and live through it. So,
I mean, it's a little morbid the way he puts it, but I get what he's saying. He'd never wrecked in an IndyCar before, but now he has. He has a better idea now of what that feels like, what to expect. He's glad, of course, that this wreck wasn't too bad, but those comments indicate he's given serious thought to how dangerous this style of racing can be. Again, I think he'll be fine. Kyle Larson just needs to find that edge. He found it today. Last season, as a rookie, he ran top 10 pretty much in the Indianapolis 500 all afternoon until the pit road penalty. If he feels more in control, more confident, more comfortable this go around, maybe we'll see him actually move forward on some restarts. As opposed to last season, it felt like he was always playing it safe and falling back. So, like I said, a few different ways maybe to interpret today's accident. I interpret it as Larson's feeling pretty good. He's comfortable. He's confident. I think that bodes well for his 2025 Indianapolis 500 effort. And he did have this to say to reporters after the crash. Larson said, quote, "I tend to move on and forget about things pretty quickly, so I don't think getting into the wall will affect the mental side of things when we come back in May." So he's already dismissing the mental concerns. But yes, Kyle Larson in the wall early in Indy 500 testing. The month of May may not officially be here yet, but for all my open wheel friends, it basically is. Now, like I promised, Chad Coltrane, CEO of Victory Junction, is joining the show. A few weeks back, we had Hannah Smith on the show, a former Victory Junction camper turned philanthropist turned ESPY winner. Today, we'll hear from Chad Coltrane, who can again tell us more about Victory Junction's mission, the Petty family's continued involvement, and so much more. Let's invite Chad Coltrane onto the show. A lot of folks may not know exactly the origins of Victory Junction, but can you tell us a little bit about how this camp first began?
Yeah, absolutely, Eric. Again, first off, let me just say thanks for having me, and I'm a big fan, and so it's an honor for me to be with you today. So thank you. Victory Junction was an idea of a 17-year-old Adam Petty. Adam, as he was coming up through the NASCAR ranks. He had, one of his roles with sponsors was going to visit kids in children's hospitals. And there was a time where he came across one of our sister camps, Camp Boggy Creek in Florida. And he was participating in a motorcycle ride with his dad, with Kyle. This idea of these kids all coming to one location really, I guess Adam was enamored with that, right? Instead of going to children's hospitals all over the country and seeing kids little by little, this cool idea of all the kids coming to us kind of resonated with him as a 17-year-old. And so Adam started talking about, this idea of camp. So really the original idea of camp came from Adam Petty. And of course, a short 2 years later, Adam was taken from us, in an unfortunate accident. And the family and the NASCAR community really rallied around that tragedy and turned it into a triumph that is, a camp like Victory Junction that provides, life-changing camp experiences for kids who have serious illnesses. And so that's really how camp, how it was founded and how it was initiated. So it's quite a story. It's my
Yeah.
personal opinion that God doesn't put folks in our lives and take them from us unless there's something to learn there. And I don't think, my personal opinion is I don't believe that Adam was put on this earth to drive in circles and around a NASCAR track, but was put on this earth to start this camp, and I truly believe that.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And what you said about the NASCAR community rallying behind this camp then and even still to this day, can you talk a little bit about how the Petty family in particular is still involved with the camp today?
Yeah, and I always love to say it even starts from the very beginning. The Petty family brought a lot of innovation to NASCAR, right? And,
Hmm.
we could all talk about the countless innovations. Well, philanthropy is one of them. And Victory Junction was one of the very first charities in NASCAR back in 2004 when we opened. The family has continued to support camp. We just were the recipient of a wonderful gift of land from the family that supports not only it secures Victory Junction's current state, but certainly secures our future. And just boy, it's fun to dream about what we can do with 400 additional acres of land, and we're having fun dreaming about what that may look like in our future. So that just happened here at the end of 2024. And then certainly you've got to look at the Kyle Petty Charity Ride
Hmm.
and its support of Victory Junction from our founding. But the Kyle Petty Charity Ride is the top cumulative donor of Victory Junction in the last 20 years. And it's not just about funding. The charity ride, it's the advocacy, it's the promotion, it's just the constant talk of camp and Victory Junction and the kids that we serve all across the country throughout the entire year. You just can't put a price tag on what that benefit is to us. And we've served kids from all 50 states and 4 countries. And I don't think that and I know that that's not a typical footprint for a summer camp or for a camp period. And I believe it's that Petty, it's the Kyle Petty Charity Ride, it's the Petty family, it's the legacy of Richard and Kyle that have really allowed Victory Junction to serve those kids from all 50 states and 4 separate countries. And so I really give them full credit for that.
That's great. Absolutely. I'm going to jump ahead in my notes slightly because you touched on something that I was going to ask about you later. What does the future hold for Victory Junction? It sounds like it's already a very expansive campus, if you will. It sounds like plans are to get even bigger, reach even more children and families. Can you talk a little bit about the future goals and plans for the camp?
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't have to go far. It was a NASCAR themed camp, right? And I liken it to a NASCAR track. A NASCAR track has a couple of race dates a year, maybe, right? But they're trying to keep busy year round. We're doing the same thing here. We want to serve kids every single day here at Victory Junction.
Hmm.
We're more than just a summer camp. Most folks know us as summer camp, but we do family weekends in the spring and in the fall. Where we have great opportunity is to serve kids through more weekends and through our through day programs. We see about 900 to 1,000 kids a year in the summertime, and there's not any more weeks to program around during those times. So absolutely, we want to double the amount of kids that we're serving already. We see about 12,000 a year currently.
Wow.
That's both on site and off site. But yeah, the future is how do we expand our programming to serve more kids? And that's through those programs that we currently have or expansion of some sort. So this property that we've received, it's given us the ability to daydream a little bit. Now we want to go into this in a slow, methodical way and grow it in a sustainable way. But certainly it's allowed us to dream a little bit. And how do we serve more kids on a daily basis? How do we become a better community partner with not only the Randleman community, Randolph County, but the state of North Carolina, or even in our four-state region of North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and Tennessee? How can we become a better community partner and serve organizations and partners in those areas to come and maybe serve? Maybe it's an advocacy group of some disability, right? We want to have them come to camp and allow us to serve them through a partnership here at Victory Junction. So we're always thinking about ways that we can continue to serve more kids in a sustainable and methodical way.
If you know a child who would have fun at Victory Junction, or if you'd like to join the camp volunteer or staff team, or if you would like to make a donation, head to victoryjunction.org/discover, or click the top link down in the video description below. Thank you all so much for watching this episode. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more NASCAR content day in, day out, week in, week out, all year long, 24/7, 365 pretty much. Big thank you to my Patreon supporters as well. Have a great rest of your day, folks. I will talk to you again real soon. Thanks again for tuning in.